Welcome to the Radiate Health and Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Christine D. Ross, and today I have an amazing guest, Miss Marissa Dansie. She is a powerful woman that wears many hats and knows the delicate dance of being a working mom with two amazing children. She's a very supportive wife, a personal trainer of 6 years, and a nutrition coach, as well as a youth exercise trainer. So I would love to know more about that and how she facilitates youth exercising. So she's also a loan officer and works with the Mortgage Whisperer team. But her true passion really lies in health and wellness and being able to inspire and create health and wellness in both her own life, her family's, friends, and everyone she encounters. And she has created her own business, Peak Overall Wellness. Marissa, would you like to tell us more about that?
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. Peak Overall Wellness kind of came about this last year. It's just one of those things I've kind of just keep putting on the back burner, and mortgage has slowed down drastically. So it was finally time for me to step out of my shell and make this business happen. So I'm excited to see where it takes me and continue building it. So it's definitely a process. Business side is hard, but like I have so much knowledge and just things I want to share with other women and men and children. And so it's just getting all of that out, and putting the business stuff is kind of just been the stressful part of it.
Yep, mechanics is always the hardest. I hear you there.
Yes.
Well, thank
sure.
you so much for being willing, and I love having you on here today. So one question that I want to ask all my guests to start out with is, what does it mean for you to radiate health and wellness?
I love that question. I want to answer it at the end, if that's okay.
Yep, no problem.
For me, I kind of want to give some background of like where I came from. As a child, and I know many people are this way, you're born with just all this confidence and self-love, and you just feel great about yourself. And then as you are exposed to just life and other people's influences, you learn, and I learned really quick how to be very self-critical and to not love my body, and just to, just not to kind of just close myself off. And as a child, I watched many influential women of my life struggle and, have really bad self-image, self-love. They hated their bodies. They struggled with their health, their weight. They didn't have energy to be with their kids. And I didn't want that when I became a mom. And so as a young child, I always was so interested in how the body worked and exercise and movement and just wanting to be active. Throughout my teenage years, my parents got divorced, and it was right at that prime, transitioning from a child to a teenager. And it was detrimental for me, and my self-worth. There was so much anger and hate that I was just surrounded by constantly. And so I fell into depression. I struggled with an eating disorder that many people didn't know I had. It was bulimia. I would still eat, so people thought I was eating, but I would immediately go to the bathroom. And I hid it very well. And that led to more depression. And as I went through my teen years, I eventually just didn't want to live anymore. I just hated life. I didn't have friends. And I struggled with depression and attempted suicide. And it was at that moment when things shifted for me. Laying in that hospital bed, I woke up and realized that, life is beautiful, and letting other people influence you in a negative way isn't how we should be living. And so I got a really great therapist. She taught me so much. She was like a grandma. She I just loved her, and her name's Shirley. She was my favorite. And she helped me find ways to release that depression and release that stress and anxiety that I carried as a teenager and learn to love myself. And I got really into running at that time. I got back into dance, which was such a great thing for me because it boosted up my spirits. I was able to express myself, and I did that all through my teenage years. And I mean, as life went on, it threw a few more curveballs my way, but having those tools of finding healthy ways to release stress through exercise and being outside and dance. And at the time I didn't know a ton about nutrition at that point, so that wasn't such a huge influence. But as I became a mom, those things from my past, I knew I didn't want my kids to experience them. So after having my daughter, which was like a huge change. I mean, having a son, you're like, yeah, I'm a boy mom, like I do this. But when I had my daughter, it was like, whoa, I don't want her to go through what I did. And I want her to love herself all her life. I don't want her to stand in the mirror and pick out all the things that she thinks is wrong with her. I didn't want that from her. And I went to a class, and one of the things they taught me, and it's so hard to do, but every morning I stand in front of the mirror naked and tell myself I love myself. And that's something I share with women all the time. It's so hard to do, and to actually like look at yourself and really see yourself. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done. But over the years, since I've done it every morning, I do love myself. I love my body. I think that if more women did that, even men, it doesn't have to just be women, just all of, everybody does that every morning. You lose that having to nitpick your body and just have those negative feelings towards yourself. And if you love yourself, you're able to give love to others. I mean, we can love other people, but if we don't truly love who we are, it's really hard for us to, one, accept love, but also to give it. So that's kind of where I transitioned into wanting to become a personal trainer and more of like a wellness coach, because I wanted people to just love themselves, but also to be healthy, not be prone to disease, and to set examples for their kids. I mean, it's so hard for me. Like, we don't have video games in our home, but it's so hard for me to see so many kids just stuck in the house and not experiencing life outside, enjoying the sun, skinning up their knees. And it was right after having my daughter that it was just like, you know what? There's a message I have to share, but I needed to educate myself more through like the personal training aspect and learning different ways to exercise and nutrition, and especially with youth. I mean, learning how to educate them so that our next generation is better than we are and don't have to deal with the diseases and the obesity rate, and just the depression and the suicide rate alone is just so heartbreaking as a mom that, if there was just more acceptance and love of ourselves, and we were getting those natural boosts in our endorphins on a daily basis, that I think a lot more people, would be able to find the help that they need and love themselves.
Wow, what a powerful story. Wow, thank you for just going deep and being raw. Wow, you made just talking about like your deep thoughts and darkest inner talk and reflection of suicide, and wow, and just be able to learn to go internal and avoid all of the external influences that are telling you what you should and shouldn't be doing, and be able to stand in front of the mirror and be 100% authentic. I mean, there is nothing that's more raw and real than to be naked in front of the mirror and say, I love you. And that's just amazing. It's like with all of those filters and gimmicks and different things going on these days, that it's hard to know what's real, and to be able to, I mean, even just now, just look at yourself on the camera and not have a filter on there and be able to be okay with that.
Yeah.
All those outward things saying what beauty is, to be able to just really, truly love yourself. I love that. Absolutely love that. Oh, wow, you just have so many messages. What other messages do you have out that you want to share?
So one of the things, I know exercise is like a big topic, and it's such a wide topic. Like everybody thinks of exercise as, oh, I have to go get this done today, or I have to go to the gym. But there's so many ways to incorporate movement. One of the ways that I'll just go through kind of what I do throughout the week, throughout the day. So I have a non-negotiable contract with myself and kind of my husband, but more me. Every morning I wake up early, and that's my time. I get to prepare for the day. As many moms are, it's wake up, rush to get the kids up, rush to get them out the door, rush to get to work, and get home, rush to get dinner, get to sport, constantly on the go. So every morning I wake up early, do some journaling, and then I do 30 to 45 minutes of resistance training, whether that's with weights, my body, just some type of workout, exercise, movement that builds my muscles, that strengthens my body. And so my husband and I have been doing that consistently for, oh my gosh, I don't even know how many years, but that's the non-negotiable. Like, even if I've had a late night and, my early morning the next day might be 7 or 8 o'clock, it's still, I go down and get the workout in. I love to go for walks in the evening with my dogs and kids, and sometimes the kids stay home and my husband, and it just helps to decompress from the day.
Mm-hmm.
And, just going for a little short 1.5 to 2 mile walk, your evenings, you are so much more calm, you sleep better, and you get out and get some fresh air. 'Cause I know a lot of people are, if you're like me with mortgage, I'm stuck inside most of the day, and I'm at my computer. And so getting outside and breathing in the air, and I mean, sometimes I try to go work outside, but it doesn't always work.
No, it's great just being able to be outside and walking. And it's more than just the physical movement, things that we don't even realize that we're doing. Yeah, being at the computer screen all day long, that it's so relieving just on our eyes. It's a whole meditation and fresh air and everything else that you're experiencing along with that.
Yeah, exactly. So. And then, one of the things that I feel like families should do more sports or activities together. My most favorite thing to do is go play baseball with my kids. Like, it is so entertaining. We're laughing. It's moving our bodies. We're getting exercise. We're outside, just going and doing that. And then my youngest, she loves to do yoga, and she's in gymnastics. So I love to just, do a little short yoga with her. And she's always like, Mom, can we stretch? Mom, can we do this? And so she's a great little motivator. And kids want to go do that. They want to go do things with their parents and be active. And then I also try and do with the yoga, I try and keep a yoga mat next to my desk, so that during the day, like, I do pauses. And so I'll stretch or do a mini yoga flow. I get a lot of tension up here from typing, and also, mom stress, carrying everybody. And
Weight on your shoulders.
Yeah, right in the shoulders. Got to do those shoulder rolls. So keeping a foam roller and a yoga mat near my desk so that I have that reminder, it's time. I need to get up. I need to move my body. And so that's how I incorporate movement like throughout the day. If I'm out in the back, out and about, I park in the very back of the park in the grocery store parking lot so that I can walk further. Always try and take the stairs. So there's lots of ways you can incorporate movement without having to like have a structured workout plan, because that's not for everybody.
Yeah, it definitely sounds a lot more fun, and finding things that you enjoy that work for you. I say a lot of people actually enjoy going and doing burpees at the gym, and that's great for them, but it's not for everyone.
I'm one of those people. I do like burpees. But I do know like that is not for everybody. And that's the one thing with exercise and improving your health and moving, like you have to just find what works for you. There's no one size fits all in fitness and in health and wellness. You got to find what makes you feel alive and what is going to better your health in the long run.
So out of mindfulness and nutrition and exercise and just building up community, what do you feel like is like the top priority? Where would you suggest people start?
Honestly, you got to have balance in them all, in my opinion. I always say start slow. I like to set, smart goals for myself. Those specific, measurable, all the good stuff. Set those goals for yourself. I committed to journaling every morning, and that has helped me so much this year with mental health. And then I think you really do need it all, but starting here will bring the other things. But you also need to do things that make your soul happy. With like exercise, and I always like to ask, like, what did you enjoy doing as a kid? Like, what made you so happy? Go do those things, because we forget how to be a kid as we mature and become adults. But if we can go back to being a kid, I feel we're healthier and have more fun, and that just fills all the cups when it comes to your mind, body, and your soul.
So go back to play. And as you've said with your kids and your son, one of your favorite things is to go and play baseball. Mm-hmm. So is that something that you enjoy doing as a kid?
Some of my favorite memories were playing catch with my brother and my dad out back. We would throw the ball back and forth for hours, and then us and the neighbor kids, we would play baseball. We would actually play with like a lacrosse ball, because that's how we would wear out our lab. So we actually never got the ball. Steve would go chase the ball for us, but we would play a form of baseball that way. And I just, those are some of my favorite memories with my brother and sister and my parents, is just being outside, having that big yard to go play the sports in. I always loved sports as a kid. I never played it. The only one that I did like on a team was volleyball. But due to a shoulder injury, I wasn't able to continue with that. But also just going and watching my brother play sports, just being there to support him. I would always go practice with him as well, being the big sister, and I love doing that.
It sounds like a lot of fun. Good childhood that way, with just being outside, enjoying time with your brothers and sisters. But with the playing ball and riding bike and different things like that you've talked about. So tell me more about your youth exercise trainer program, and do you incorporate those type of things in it?
So yeah, with kids, it's got to be fun. It's got to be short. Kids don't need a ton, but just playing games, setting up obstacle courses. One thing I've been able to do this year is be an assistant coach for my son's baseball game with my husband and then the head coach, and just finding ways to teach the boys how to stretch and warm their bodies up before they play their game. Coming up with different games and agilities has been awesome. And actually looking to put together some clinics and groups for the boys that play baseball or anybody who would like to join throughout the summer, just to keep them active and get them out of the house, not driving their parents crazy during summer break, but keep building on their skills that they've learned throughout the spring season for baseball and just kind of progress on that.
Wow. Can just really see how this all ties together and incorporates what you were sharing to begin with the depression that you faced when you were a child. So now you're creating these youth programs to give the youth something to do, something brighter, and just how much exercise helps your mental state of being. I mean, is that really kind of the root of what you're doing today?
Yeah, I feel it is. Exercise, movement releases so many of those feel good hormones that if you're stuck inside in a dark room on your computer watching YouTube or playing video games or sucked into TikToks, those are not building you up. They're not giving you those. I mean, you'll have those short-term endorphin releases, but nothing like what going out and challenging yourself or, having that little friendly competition or race or relay, nothing like what that does. And just having kids be able to come together. I know it's so heartbreaking as a parent when your kid comes home from school and they've either been bullied or not included with their specific group of friends, or getting a call from the principal and your kid was involved in a fight because so and so said something and it hurt their feelings, and then just having kids be able to come together and build like a team and a bond, a friendship, and just finding things they enjoy will also just help them throughout their childhood, and especially as they go into teenage years.
So I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but I'm just picturing that one kid that's in the corner that's feeling like he's not included, that he doesn't know how to play ball. He's not the best, so he's the last one picked, and he's probably the one that's going to be bullied and be more depressed. What would you say to encourage that little one?
What's funny is we had a boy on our baseball team that was like this. And every game I would sit down with him on the bench and just talk with him and just build up his confidence, because I knew he could do it. He wanted to just, be part of the group, but he was just so very timid. And a few games ago, he took a swing and hit the ball, and it was so awesome. I was screaming so loud for this kid. The entire team was on their feet, just yelling his name. And when he made it home, he didn't get a home run, but once he got home and scored a point, everybody in the dugout just hugged him and he, oh my gosh, his grin was from ear to ear. And that was just, but every game it was, we're going to hit today, right? You've got this. You can do it. And we've been practicing, and just being supportive and just like those reaffirmations that they have the ability, and also having other kids just pull them in. There's always going to be the bully kids, but there's always just have the big heart and will take anybody under their wing. So just finding those kids in the group who are just accepting, but I think just building the confidence, positive affirmations, and showing them, whether it's taking baby steps of, okay, we can modify these things if you're not able to do it, and building them up on those.
Wow. It takes a lot of strength and encouragement to build someone up. It's perfect. thank you for being that person for that little boy.
Yeah,
That's
kids are awesome. I like adults, but kids are just, they're so innocent and they have a lot to teach us. And I just love it.
so I just want to kind of break off onto another subject that you shared a little bit about, a subject that I didn't know as far as having an eating disorder. What did you learn from that, and what did you decide is healthy for you as far as eating, and what can you share with other people that might be going through an eating disorder?
So, with depression, you kind of just you numb out, is the best way to describe it. You just don't care. And part of my depression was I didn't feel accepted, and I didn't feel pretty enough and skinny enough, and, especially with the group of friends I was hanging around and the kids I went to school. I just didn't feel like I fit in with any particular group, and so I just felt alone. Also, like having divorced parents and just the constant like back and forth of that, my instinct was just, well, I'm just not going to eat. But then I was like, well, people are going to notice if I'm starving myself. So then I would eat, and then I would go to the bathroom and eliminate that from my stomach. And I also found myself taking like weight loss pills, supplements at a very young age. And I just felt horrible. I had no energy. I felt weak. Nothing, like when I would eat, nothing really sounded good. And I wasn't making healthy choices either. I was eating junk food and, all the bad things for you. I would go in and then I would leave and it would come out. And so after getting home from the hospital, from my suicide attempt, I didn't eat either. I was still in depression. I still struggled. And I got to the point where I was probably the skinniest I had ever been. People were like complimenting me, "Oh, you look so great." But I felt horrible. My mental state was not good. I just wanted to sleep all day. I didn't want to go do things that I normally enjoyed. I didn't want to be around people. And so until I got into therapy, and it was actually until I started running and going to dance that it was like, okay, if I'm going to be doing all these things, I need to start eating healthier. My mom was trying to improve her health, and that's when I learned about meal prepping and planning out your meals, and portion sizing and selecting good whole foods to eat. That was the start of it. I think I was probably 17, 18 years old when I started doing that. And it took a lot of years to get to where I am now. Having kids help too, because you gotta eat.
So we're all just learning and making it up as we go. It's good.
Right? I know. And still, it's constant learning process. But I think, watching my mom start her journey and wanting to help her, that's when I really dove into like the nutrition side. And I was actually taking college classes at that time, and one of them I had to take a health class. So it just kind of built on, learning the exercise side of things, and then also the nutrition side of things, and how the body processed food and how nutrients was absorbed. And so once I got through that course, and then also learning about, the meal prepping, and I've just kind of adjusted things to fit my lifestyle from there, and it changes every few months and every year, and
that's okay.
That's okay.
So now you have overcame so many struggles. So if you saw your little girl going through the same type of depression and eating disorder, I mean, as yourself, or if you saw somebody else going through that, what is like the one tip? What is the one advice that, I mean, you can't change this other individual. I can see you're kind of like stuck in this. I don't know what I can do. What
Mhm.
advice would you give that person seeing somebody else go through a depression like that?
That they're not alone. That was the biggest thing for me is I felt alone. I didn't feel like I had anybody I could tell these dark things to without disappointing them. And I'm come to find out I did have a lot of support,
Hmm.
but something very detrimental to realize that I did have this support and a wake up call for myself. And, you know, there's a lot of suicides now, but when I was in school, I mean, in 1 year we lost five
Wow.
students in 1 year, but it wasn't talked about. And just knowing that you have someone that you can go to regardless of what it is, like that I feel like is the biggest thing. It's just, to embrace that person and just say, I love you and I accept you no matter what. And I'm here for you. Um, I think having just that love and acceptance would help so many in that negative state. And then finding other forms of help, whether that be a therapist, whether that be nutrition and wellness
Hmm.
coach and exercise or groups that have gone through similar things. But yeah, just seeing someone go through that and just embracing them, even if, they are not accepting of that right away, allowing them to know that you are there for them and no matter what, you will love and support them.
Wow. Powerful words. Yeah, it's so hard to do because at the same time, it's like I've been there where I've tried to embrace somebody and I just felt like pushed back. But
Mm-hmm.
from what I'm hearing you say is continue, just continue letting them know that you love them and you accept them no matter what.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, moving forward, is there anything you want to share about peak overall wellness?
Give me a follow on my social media. I'm still working on building all that up. So you know, being a new business, I would just love the support and getting the word out and just having people reach out. I do offer free consultations, so I I would love to hear from you. Well, I primarily focus just on online personal training. The youth side of things is building, and as that continues, then I'll be offering more with that. I am a nutrition coach, so I am able to, with your personal training, incorporate creating a plan, ideas, sharing recipes, all of the things. My primary focus, I mean, as far as mind, body, and wellness, when you start incorporating all the things, they all kind of come together. But the personal training side of things, 30 to 45-minute workouts is what I like to push for, and I can help put those together for you.
Perfect. Love it. Yes. All in one place to take care of mind, body, and soul.
Yeah.
So, are you ready to answer my question? What does it mean to you to radiate health and wellness?
Yes. Yes, I am. So for me, I feel like radiating health and wellness is breaking those generational barriers. We're as a generation, my generation, like we're constantly healing from the past. So to radiate health and wellness for me is to teach the younger generation what health it actually is and how to find what works for you. There's so many options and so many resources available to us now that they didn't have in previous generations, and being able to share that, and just also just living your life is in a healthy way. I feel like a lot of people forget to just live and enjoy the
Hmm.
lyrics And when you're healthy and you feel good, you're able to do that more. My goal in life is to be, live to be 100, and like I want to be there for my kids and my grandkids and my great great grandkids, and just have the energy to make those memories with them and be a supporter of them, and just keeping, the mind and the body and the soul all connected and working together in harmony.
Love it. Just be able to live and be able to experience life and enjoy going out with your grandkids or whatever it may be, instead of sitting on the couch waiting to die.
Exactly.
That's great. Well, is there anything else that you would like to share? Any other messages or anything else to get out to the world today?
No, I just want to thank you for creating your radiant wellness business, and your podcasts have been awesome. They have really hit me hard with a few of your topics and been eye-openers. And so I just want to thank you for setting out on this journey to help. I love it.
You're welcome. Well, thank you so much for coming on and being able to be willing to dig deep and be raw and share your authentic self and those deep feelings that you had in moments of despair and how you got through those struggles. Just what an amazing inspiration you can be to your own children and family and everyone. Thank you for radiating what you have radiated today.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. All right. Well, I will let you go and have a beautiful day.
Thank you. You too.
Mahalo for tuning in to the Radiate Health and Wellness podcast. If you've been inspired by this podcast and know someone in your life who could benefit from its message, please share. You never know whose life you might change. Together, let's create a ripple effect of positive change in the world. I greatly appreciate your support in joining me today. Please follow and subscribe to hear more empowering stories and practical tips for living your healthiest and happiest life. Until next time, stay well and radiate health and wellness in all that you do.